last year, Chevy introduced the biggest change to the Corvette that I think we've ever seen. They moved the engine to the middle. Now they've introduced a convertible version, which is usually a part of the Corvette lineup. And today, I'm gonna show you some of the differences between the convertible and the coupe. And at the end, I'm gonna let you know which one I would recommend and which one I think you should get. So let's find out what the 2021 Corvette Convertible is all about. So let's start off by checking out the exterior of the Corvette Convertible, where up here, pretty much the same as what you're gonna get on the coupe. We've got this amazing Sebring orange color. I think this might be my new favorite color, named after Sebring, you know, my home state here of Florida. This and Zeus Bronze, I think, are my two favorite colors that we can get here. Very pointy, Aventador-like front end, very supercar-esque. We do have the Z51 package, so we have a more aggressive splitter here. Again, this car just looks fantastic. People are going to be calling you out, giving you the thumbs up wherever you go. We have the Z51 wheels here, so we have 255 section Pilot Super Sport tires, PS4Ss, 305s in the back, which is really interesting. The one thing that I'll note on this press car, the way that they've sent it, is that there's a lot of orange accenting. You'll see even more in the back. I wish this stuff was black. I know you can get it in black. The big difference between the coupe and the convertible, they look mostly the same, almost identical, but you're gonna notice a little bit of difference here. You've got these big buttresses here instead of that big glass piece where you can peer into the engine like it is on the coupe. But for all intents and purposes, it really does look very similar. I'm actually kind of shocked how much they kept the convertible looking like the coupe from the side profile. Here in the back, again, as part of the Z51 package, we have this nice black lifted spoiler here. I think the spoiler makes the Corvette just look so much better. I've commented in the coupe video is that I think the rear end looks a little bit big. Obviously, that's to accommodate a large trunk, but I don't think it's ugly by any respect. I think everybody is going to basically agree that this car is very sharp. We also have the performance exhaust as part of the Z51 package. That's going to make this car a lot louder. Again, if I am nitpicking, I'm not a huge fan of this orange plastic right here. This is body color, whatever color you get. You can get those finished in black, and I think it just makes the whole car look a little bit more elegant. All right, so now that we've checked out the exterior, let's come inside the Corvette Convertible, where for all intents and purposes, this is going to be exactly the same as the coupe, but I'm going to go ahead and go through it anyway. We'll start with the steering wheel. It's this very interesting two-spoke sort of square design. We have the optional like suede material here. I wouldn't go for that. I would just get leather. I much prefer it. The suede is really good, like grippy on like a racetrack, but it starts to look pretty terrible after a while, after your hand oil gets all over it. It's really interesting, the positioning of this, because you've got these really nice large metal paddle shifters here, but you have to hold the wheel kind of low for that. I've noticed that when I'm driving really precisely, very fast, that I actually like to hold the steering wheel up here. I'm not sure if GM intended it that way, but whatever. It's an interesting design, and I think most people will get used to it. This is also where you have your Z button. This is one of my favorite things on this car. Basically, you can set up all the different aspects of the car, your throttle, your engine, suspension, if you have the optional magnetic ride control. So you push the Z button and it'll automatically go to the preset mode that you have, which is really cool. So my favorite is track on pretty much everything, comfort on the suspension, although we don't have adaptive suspension on this car. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get it out on the road. Now there's other ways to adjust the modes on this car as well, aside from the Z button. We have this little mode selector here. It says mode on it, and it's this very hard to turn knob. I kind of wish they made it a little easier to turn, but if you start turning it to the right, you'll get your sport mode. That's going to change up your gauges just a little bit. If you put it one more over into track, that's really going to get you a completely different tachometer, and your head-up display, which is optional, is going to change as well, which is pretty cool. And if you go to the left, you can also set up a My mode, which is separate from the Z mode, and you also have a weather mode if you're driving this car in the rain or the snow and you want to take it a little bit easier. Now we have really nice materials throughout this car. We have the 2LT, which is the second trim level. There's the 1LT and there's the 3LT. So really nice leathers everywhere. I will say that just like the coupe that I tested a few months ago, the stitching is a little bit misaligned. If it bothers you, if you're the type of nitpicky ADD type person, you might notice this. It doesn't really bother me because the interior is so nice and premium feeling here. Literally, they could have put a Cadillac badge on this. I think the interior definitely feels up to snuff with a lot of European cars. You get this standard touchscreen. It now has wireless CarPlay and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto for the 2021 model year. The other cool thing is we have the PDR, the Performance Data Recorder. If you put an SD card in here, it will use all of the various cameras to record your lap times, which is a very cool feature. Speaking of cameras, we have this little button right here ahead of the mode shifter that says front and with a little picture of a camera. Push that and you're going to get a really cool angle of the front, so you won't need to worry about scraping it on parking stops, which is awesome. We also have a really nice backup camera as well. The one thing I'll note about the convertible is that the rear visibility is not quite as great as what you get in the coupe because of these big, large buttresses. We do still have the rear camera mirror, although it only works when the roof is up. When you put the roof down, you're going to lose this feature, so that's a little bit annoying, a little bit different than the coupe. And the other thing I want to talk about is this big row of buttons here. I know a lot of people instantly looked at pictures of this and they said, what was Chevy thinking of? This looks ridiculous. It looks confusing. I don't think so. The fan speed and temperature controls are all raised, so they're very easy to find. Those are the things that I use the most frequently, and I can very easily just find them without even looking, and I've found this big row of buttons to be incredibly intuitive. Now, as a passenger, it's a little bit annoying because it basically separates you from all of the controls, including the touchscreen, so it's probably not great as a passenger, but it is great, you know, for the driver. Now again, we have the GT2 seats. It's sort of like a sport seat here. There is a racier seat above this and there is a more comfortable seat below this. I think this is the perfect middle ground because these hug you in really well. They have a little bit of carbon fiber on the back and you can put race harnesses on them as well. We also have the orange seat belts, which are really cool. You can get a bunch of different matching seat belt colors, and because we have the 2LT trim, we also have heating and ventilation on these, which you can't get on the seats above this. We also have the really nice Bose Performance Series stereo. This is a really, really nice stereo system. And the other concession to comfortability that we have is a nose lift on the front axle. You just push this button and it'll raise up the front end so you don't have to worry about scraping. I think it comes in handy so much. Although I will say that even without using it, I've noticed this car doesn't scrape that much. It is a really, really nice, well done cabin that I happen to like a lot. This might be annoying for some people if you're sitting on the passenger side. So something that's great here on the Corvette Convertible is that you actually don't lose any storage space compared to the coupe. This is the rear trunk area. It has 8.6 cubic feet of space. We have this nice cargo net and some cargo hooks as well. It looked smaller than the coupe to me, but I think that's just an illusion because the coupe has this big, huge clamshell with a big glass piece where you can peer into the engine. That is one thing that you do lose on the convertible though. You can't see the V8 under here. There's no way to look at it without being a service technician and taking this car apart. And if the rear trunk is not enough for you, you also get the frunk because this car is mid-engined. There's no engine up here. So you do have 4 cubic feet of space back here, which is big enough for a big camera case like so. In fact, our camera case can't actually fit back there because of that awkward shape. It's more meant for golf clubs, but suitcases like this will have to go up here in the frunk, combining to give this car 12.6 cubic feet of space, which is actually quite a lot for a sports car. So now let's talk about the biggest difference here between the convertible Corvette and the coupe. On the coupe, you literally have to undo 3 latches, get out of the vehicle, pick up the roof, and store it in the trunk. Now, not only is that going to take up most of your trunk space, but it is kind of a pain to do, and if it rains, you're going to have to pull over and you're going to have to put the roof back on. Now, with this, you can do it right here from the key fob. It's a 2-piece electric roof with 6 motors. It goes down in 16 seconds. You can operate it at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. You can do that from inside the car or from the key fob. And the best part about all of this is that it only adds 80 pounds to the curb weight, so you're really not going to see any impact on this car's impressive performance. All right, so let's get the Corvette Convertible out on the road. And let's first talk about how we have this particular Corvette optioned. As I mentioned when we were doing the walk around, we do have the Z51 package, which is a $5,000 optional extra. And again, it's a must-have. You definitely have to get this package. You get the electronic limited slip differential, you get the performance rear axle ratio, you get Brembo brakes, gonna stop this car quicker. You get the performance exhaust, which again, that is a must-have because you really can't hear this engine unless you're in track mode and unless you're really on the throttle. So having that performance exhaust makes a huge difference. You get Z51 specific suspension, and what's interesting about this car is we do not have GM's optional magnetic ride control suspension. That's another $1,800 option. For 2021, you can now get the magnetic ride without all the Z51 stuff. So if you just want the more comfortable ride and adjustability, you can do that now without getting Z51. So that's a really interesting option. The last Corvette coupe that I drove did have magnetic ride. And again, I would highly suggest getting that option as well. If you're already going all in on the Z51, I think the magnetic ride control is worth it. I will mention though, I'm kind of happy that I got to drive one of these without the magnetic ride control just to see how it is. Like maybe you're going to order a base Corvette, you're stretching into it and you don't want to spend up on Z51 and all that other stuff and it's a 2LT package and all of these things that's going to make it expensive. I will let you know that it's pretty comfortable. It's still not an uncomfortable ride. It still rides decently well. You can definitely feel the bumps a little bit more. You don't have those magnetic dampers to absorb things quite as much, but this is not punishing like a lot of other sports cars. But I will say that when you really push this car heavily, you're gonna wish you had that mag ride suspension because it can stiffen up and it really just makes this car feel a lot more nimble and a lot more planted when you're pushing it hard. Now, in terms of comfortability, you're really not sacrificing much, if anything, when you're getting this convertible. The fuel economy is exactly the same. You'll get 15 in the city, 27 on the highway, 19 combined. When you're driving along normally like I am now, you're going to be able to shut down to a V4 to save fuel. So if you really baby this, you could probably almost get 30 mpg on the highway out of it. You still have 194 mile an hour top speed. You still can do 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. You could still do the quarter mile in about 11.2 seconds. So again, speed, comfort, all of that stuff, still fantastic. This new Corvette convertible, because it's a hardtop, GM Chevy says that this is the most quiet Corvette they've ever made convertible wise. Obviously previous Corvette convertibles all had a soft top, but there is something that I want to note to you. We've been driving around here, you might have just heard it now. I'm not sure if it's coming through on the camera. When I go over some flexes, some rough parts of the road and you get some chassis flex, I am hearing this roof squeak around a bit, which is a little bit annoying. I definitely didn't notice that in the coupe. It might just be my specific car, but that would get really annoying if I were driving around hearing that squeak. So obviously it's a convertible, even though we have a quite chilly day in Florida here where we're in the 40s in terms of temperature. I'm gonna go ahead and put the roof down to just show you what it's like driving this vehicle with the roof down. You can put it down at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour, which is really nice and convenient. Again, that's the huge reason why you would wanna buy this over the coupe. Now I'm gonna put up the windows and I'm gonna go ahead and put up that rear piece of glass, and that's gonna cocoon us a lot. So the wind is not too bad, the buffeting, even at high speeds, it's a very similar feeling to what you get in the coupe. Now we're gonna go ahead and adjust the drive modes here. So I'm gonna go from sport, now I'm gonna put it into track. Now let's see what this car really feels like when you push it. There we go. It handles superbly, even without the magnetic ride control. The steering in its track setting is super precise. It doesn't have so much feedback like a Porsche or a BMW. I mean, I guess maybe it's about on par with a BMW, certainly not as delicate as a Porsche, but the responsiveness from the wheel, the change of direction here is absolutely fantastic. I want to talk about the engine because it is maybe the one point that I'm a little disappointed with here, because you get 490 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque out of a 6.2 liter V8. That's all well and good, and the Z51 package adds 5 horsepower for 495, but unless you're in track mode with the wide open exhaust, you could barely hear it. And even now, it's loud, but it's not quite loud enough, I will say. I think the aftermarket will take care of that fine. I would put an aftermarket exhaust on this because I really want to hear it, and I think the Z06 and ZR1 models are definitely going to do it. Now, we've got an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. There's no manual anymore, and frankly, I don't really miss it. This transmission is fantastic. It shifts ridiculously quick. Watch these shifts. It bangs off shifts, especially when you're at full throttle. It just gives you such a nice feeling of quickness. I will say that when you're driving it along in traffic, it's not quite as smooth as PDK. It's not quite as smooth as some of the best transmissions that Mercedes has in their lineups. I just got out of driving a Mercedes CLA 45, and I noted that that dual clutch was a little bit smoother, but in terms of speed, I mean, you can't really beat that. The other cool thing that it has that I absolutely love is if you pull both paddles at the same time, listen to this, you can just rev the motor. That comes in handy for 2 reasons. You can clutch kick it, so you can spin those rear wheels on the move, which is pretty cool. And it's just a really cool thing. You come into a car show, you don't want to put the car into neutral, you're coming into a car show, you got a bunch of kids, you know, with their cameras out, you just pull the paddles, rev it up a little bit, and give them something to post on their YouTube channel. So I do really like that as well. So again, I love the Corvette. It's such a nice overall package. I'm not 100% sold on whether I would buy the convertible, but I really like how GM has pretty much made this a no compromise convertible. You're not losing anything if you get the convertible over the coupe. So that was the 2021 Chevrolet Corvette Convertible. Pricing starts at around $67,000, which is $7,500 more than the coupe. To get the 2LT trim like we have here, that's going to be about $75,000, and this one has a bunch of options that dials the price all the way up to $86,000. Now, the $7,500 question is, should you get the convertible or should you get the coupe? In my personal opinion, I would just go for the coupe. It's $7,500 less. That's obviously a big plus. You can still take the roof off, and I would just save the money. You literally just have to get out of the car and put the roof away. Now, if you're the type of person who will probably never get out of the car, take the roof off and do that, but this would entice you to do it because all it takes is one button push, then maybe you are better off spending the money for something like this. If you're maybe a little older and taking the roof off just doesn't sound appealing, I think this is a nice option, and as we saw, aside from $7,500, you lose pretty much nothing else. So in terms of making a good convertible Corvette, Chevy has done an excellent job on this new model. We hope you've enjoyed this look at the 2021 Chevrolet Corvette Convertible. We have more videos just like it over on our channel, including a video of the coupe, so be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos. We have plenty of other content as well that lives over on the CarBuzz website and the CarBuzz app, so be sure to check those out. Hope you'll tune in next time.